Hi, everybody. We're back. Yay. So I want to introduce my dear friend. Well, I call him Poochie because he says people that love him call him Poochie, and I love him like my little brother, big brother, big little brother. He did 10 years in the federal prison system. He got out about 4.5 months ago. So I'm going to turn it over to him to introduce himself, and then we will take your questions. And if you guys can do us a favor and comment and let us know that you're there and that you can hear us okay, and give us all the hearts and the love and comments. And oh, there's Anna. Okay. Hey, Anna, sweetheart, can you do us a favor and share this on the Invisible Shackles group? Because we're not doing this through Facebook. We're doing this through a different platform. So you guys can see us on split screen. So we just want to make sure the technology is working okay as well. So thank you for commenting. Give us all the hearts and the likes. And I will turn it over to my dear friend Poochie to introduce himself.
How's everyone doing? Can you hear me good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you guys hear okay?
Do you hear me? Well, they should hear me.
Hey, Anna, can you hear? I can hear you. Yep, they can hear.
Okay, perfect. How's everyone doing? Like she said, my name is Poochie, but my real name is Jose Sabalo Jr. I just did 10 years in federal prison. And, I've made the conscious decision while being away to just become the best version of myself. And Ro here has kind of let me know that there's been a lot of questions on maybe how to approach our situation or just some insight. So I'm just glad to be here today to be able to give people the insight that you might not get from your significant other or your loved one, because they just might not tell you some things because they do love you. And sometimes we hold back just not to hurt our family and things like that. So please, any questions, feel free. I'm open to all questions.
So really quick, hi, Tracy. Hi, Amber. Hi, I saw a couple other people hop on. Sorry, I was distracted in my phone trying to find a question that one of our beautiful members sent last week. And I told Poochie, I was like, there's nobody better than you to answer this question, but I'll go back to that in a minute. So Poochie, until we get a question from the girls live, a lot of our members are having issues right now. I think I know about 5 or 6 people who are having problems with him coming out, the transition process with him, just starting to get distant, starting to push her away a little bit, maybe potentially starting to go back to that street lifestyle, and lying to her a little bit. These are all kind of speculations, trying to maybe make up for lost time. So can you talk a little bit about your transition, and can you talk a little bit about how us as the wives and the people that have been there for so long should handle it from your point of view?
From my point of view, it's so hard, right? A lot of us, we come out and we feel like, well, me personally, I felt the whole time that I let the people that love me down. So on my way out, it's like that's the number one thing on my mind is I can't let the people that love me down again. I kind of have to do the things I say I'm going to do. But then there's a lot of temptation, and it's easy for us, especially for me, and I think I'm an anomaly because of the way I've decided to live my life. There's not many people that choose to go through the whole coaching stuff and all that. But we're held back for so long from all the things that led us to prison. They're in there, but they're not in there to the degree they are out here. Plus, we're monitored so much inside. So coming out, everything hits us 100 miles an hour. Like all the temptation, everything's back. I'm obvious. The women, the old friends, the drugs, and as hard as it is for guys to stay focused, it's kind of like it's like you're a kid again. So it's like you're a kid again and you're being tempted with the candy that you love, kind of thing. So it's really, it's just to support and to let the guys know that you're there for them, and constantly reinforce the fact that you don't expect them to hit the ground running. It's so hard. The transition is hard. Like getting a job is hard. Like I'm a life coach and I have to work in a warehouse because it's just hard to get a job to let you in, and it's not, you can't just come out and your people can't expect you to hit the ground running and be the provider that you were coming in. So sometimes a lot of guys get that pressure. And fortunately I didn't come out to a situation where anyone felt that I kind of owed them. And I say because sometimes this happens where women, they'll do the time with their men, and when they're released, now if you have any kind of character as a man, you feel like you have to provide for your family and you have to be there for your family. So now there's this pressure. What the most thing that I see needs to be done is just the women or the family or the whoever it is, just let them know that you understand that it's a process, that you can't 2 weeks after coming home, it's impossible that you're going to be able to go back to the person you were without indulging in the lifestyle that led you to prison in the first place.
Great answer. So you got a couple of comments. Good answer. Good way to put it. So I didn't write down the name of the person who wrote it, but what was your biggest struggle coming home?
My biggest struggle, fortunately, man, I have a great support system. My family's been great. My struggle for real has been that all the goals that I set and expectations that I have, it wasn't as fast as I would like. It's still a grind. It's still putting the work in, the groundwork. Like, I expected to be able to just, I'm this, I got all these certifications, I'm ready, I'm focused, but it's just, you still have to put the work in. So as much as we prepare on the inside, it's still like reality. And then there's everything else. Like in prison, we don't have bills. We don't pay bills. You don't pay light, you don't pay rent, you don't pay. So coming home and then you're getting paid, but if you find the job, but now you have everything on top of the money you're making. You also have all the bills that you never had while you were in prison. So even just getting readjusted to that, to the fact, like, everybody, we're not all financial literate. I'm still struggle with balancing my checkbook and just what was the question again?
Your biggest struggle. You answered it. And
Yeah.
those of us on the outside, we still struggle with balancing our checkbooks too, because we're trying to support you in there. So Michelle wants to know, when you went in, did you have a lady? Most of all, did she stay with you? I'm going to paraphrase Michelle, and I'm sorry if I get it wrong because I can't see the rest of your comment. But basically, a woman who started the bid with him, if he has a little bit of a longer bid, what are the odds of them staying together and making it through? And Michelle, you could type in if I botched your question or if there's something I missed.
The odds? Am I like giving an over and an under here? Like, no, I'm joking. It's, oh man, that's such a touchy subject,
I
bro.
think it's
Not touchy, but okay, yes,
well. Let's start. Okay, go ahead.
yes, I had a significant other. I had a girlfriend prior to going prison. We were together for a long time actually, and I'll be honest, I kind of pushed her away from the beginning. I kind of told her that, I thought I was gonna get more time, but I got blessed with 10 years, if that even sounds right. So I kind of told her, like, look, I'm gonna get all this time. I believe it is best for us to part ways because it's not fair to you, and I don't really want to be stressing. I don't want to stress in prison about my whatever you're doing out there, and that was just because I love you. So, did she stay for a while? Be honest, yes, for a while, and then this happens a lot. This happens to 90% of guys. Then when I'm getting short, when I'm almost coming home, they come back. So yeah, we were semi together, not really, but yeah, she left. I mean, like 3 years. I got 10, so about 2.5 years in, it was like it kind of fell off a little bit. So that was the first part of the question. What was the second part?
So, what are the odds? Like somebody that's been done the whole bid with him and stayed with him the whole time, and they didn't have those types of ins and outs and ups and downs. What are the odds that they'll make it?
That would be on specific. That would be different strokes for different folks. The bond you have, it's really about. We're not going anywhere. Obviously, we're in prison, so it's really about the way you communicate with each other. A lot of times, women who really love their men, like, they're too honest. and I'm not saying don't lie to your husband or your significant other, but just there's some things that add additional stress to us that really we don't need to know, because it depends on the amount of time we're doing. So I'm not saying hide stuff, but you shouldn't just divulge everything, because it's just going to cause unnecessary drama, for
Sure.
real. So a lot of times that helps. Just the negativity, like we're surrounded by negativity in there all day. Like we're spoke down to by the COs. We're constantly, and depends where you're at. It's like there's racial lines that can't be crossed. So we're constantly on edge already. So when we call home, we really just wanna smile while we're them little 15 minutes on the phone. We just want to talk to the people we love and smile a little bit. So really, so when I've seen this, and like I said, fortunately, I never had the big issues with my significant with my girlfriend, but guys will call the house and their girl be complaining about all the bills and all this, and I'm on the phone next to her. I don't want to hear, but you can tell what's going on, and your body language just shifts. Like if there's a happy guy, usually their body language shifts, and it's probably because of something from their family. So I know you have to convey what's going on out there, but there's things that we can't do anything about. So I believe that it's just kind of gauge the conversation the way it goes, and it'll be a lot easier. So much easier for both sides if you don't have to add unnecessary stress. Seems a little selfish, but I'm just giving you the perspective of us on the inside. We don't know what's going on outside.
Awesome. Okay. These comments are going kind of fast, so I'm trying to go off of memory. And if I forgot your question, you guys, or if I missed it, just keep reposting it until we get to it. So Malika had a really good question, but I want to get to another one first. Malika's was describe the moment you walked free, which I think was amazing. We'll get back to that. But somebody else, I can't remember who, asked a question that I get constantly, and I think this is wonderful that we have your perspective on this. So her husband is doing a long time. He's doing a 10-year bid, and now he's at the point where he's getting kind of frustrated, and she wants to know from your point of view, what's the best way for her to encourage and support him from the outside while he's down?
Wow, doing a 10-year bid, the best way to support. Just positive talk. I just know that kind of support, like pictures. I mean, that's like everything for us. Like even when the best thing is getting pictures when you don't expect them. So like constant. I don't know if they have email wherever he's at. Like when we wake up, everybody rushes to the email. It's like a line to check your emails in the morning. So and the color it comes up is blue. So we even jokes among each other like, "Oh, yours ain't blue. You just in the line wasting time. It ain't blue." So when we even boast about it, like when we log on and we see that it's blue, like we'll be like, "Yeah, you see, mine's blue. I don't know about you," that kind of thing. So just like the communication, knowing, feeling love. That's you don't get that. We're men in a prison with men, so we don't all the yeah, we have camaraderie, but we don't have that love that everybody, the affection that everybody longs for. So that just feeling that, however you convey it to your husband or your wife or whoever's locked up, it could be a man with a woman. It's just that. That's really it. The
Awesome.
communication, the pictures, just the moments, like moments that you have. I had a cousin. She the whole time we didn't speak a lot, but she would take pictures of all the family parties, all my little cousins' birthdays, and she did this through my whole 10 years. And we didn't speak a lot, so that meant so much to me. Just her being there like that, and just keeping me top of the mind, TOMA, top of mind awareness. She just always made me feel like they cared about me.
So here's a second question to that. You're saying stay positive, keep being positive. And let's say he's just being a jerk and he's pushing her away and he's being nasty to her and hanging up on her. How long and how hard should she continue to work? Should she let him get over it? I've had so many girls that go through this, and a lot of times he's just kind of in a mood and then he gets over it and he comes back and he's fine. But how do you know the difference between when he's treating like a piece of crap and when it's just a mood and he's going to get over it? And I'm not saying that that's this specific woman's question. It's not. I was just asking a follow-up because I get that all the time. But he's pushing me away. He's being a jerk. He says he doesn't want to be with me anymore. How long and how hard do I push before I start turning into a doormat?
Oh man, that's hard. I would say that's individual. You know your husband or whoever he is. You know him better than anybody else knows. So, I mean, I don't believe anybody deserves to be treated that way, regardless of how long we've been in a relationship. A lot of people deflect the blame. It's never their fault. Somebody else did it. I always knew that. It was everything I did led to me going to prison. And once, it's kind of hard for a lot of guys to realize that. So they kind of lash out in many different ways, especially to the people they love, because no one else is going to listen to them. So they're going to lash out to the people they love. So that just might be, sometimes that just might be a whole nother issue. And they're just using it on you because you're not going anywhere, or you just might be there. You're going to be the one to listen. So really, I mean, maybe asking them if there's something going on that he wants to talk about, because you haven't done anything kind of to merit this to be treated this way. So, I mean, just kind of shifting the energy. It's positivity, again, it's so hard. And it's really about, does the relationship matter to you that much? That's what I believe. Is it a relationship that you're willing to continue to invest time in? Because while you're in prison, that's a huge investment by the women who stand by their man doing 10, 15, even 5, 3 years. It's a lot. So it's really like, do you deserve, like, what happened?
Somebody asked if you're single. That was so sweet.
That's funny. Yes, but it's just about that. Do you feel like the relationship is worth it? Is it worth it to you? And that's really you have to look inside yourself for that. I wouldn't be able to answer that. And it's really, I don't know, has this person changed? Are they doing 10 years? Do they have 7 years in and they're still acting the same way they did when they went in? I mean, that's a little, I don't know. I mean, just, you know the answer to this. I can't answer it. I can't answer that question.
That's a good answer. It's an honest answer. So we have so many questions, and I'm trying to remember the ones that popped up. First of all, we had somebody come in who said that she's just grateful that we're here. Her husband's did a really long time, and now he's doing 4 more years in a different facility, and he has stage 4 cancer. So they're just really trying to survive this time. We had a prison parent come in and ask how you reconnected to your parents. How was that connection when you got home?
Oh, that's actually my parents they were there the whole time. We're like, I just come from a real close-knit family, like, so connecting was just like, it was just an extension of me doing my time. Like, prior to me going to prison, I was on a run I left the country for a couple years. So even in that time, they were like supporting me. Like, I'm in Dominican Republic, and they're helping, all the help I needed, they had it. And obviously that wasn't the right thing to do, but they were there for me anyway. So connecting with your parents, with my parents, I cried, obviously, when I seen them and I'm free and I hug them and I was able to kiss my mom, like being free in regular clothes. It was surreal. So that was an amazing moment. And it was, my parents are getting older now. So just to be able to make it home, they've been sick. My mom has been sick a little bit. So to be able to make it home prior to, any hospitalization or anything like that was it was an amazing moment.
Okay, so we're getting a lot of different versions of this same question. So MWI in our community means that they met him while he was already inside. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the women who are in that situation, and also other ones, just want to know, how do you know if it's real? How do you know if he's using you just to get your needs met, or if it's truly genuine. One person said when she goes in to visit her husband, he literally points out all the guys that are in there and using other women and says it's just so common. And we've always heard that it's so common as well. So what advice do you have for the ladies who are kind of questioning that? How do they tell? Because we all know, I mean, it's not like you're breaking some kind of bro code telling us that that happens. We know that happens. We know from the other sisters that have gone through it and came out the other side scorned. So what advice, I don't think we should ask if it's happening because we're all on the same page that it is, but what do we do? How do we know? What do we look for?
Wow. You're going to make me betray my brothers like this?
That's why I set it up saying that.
No, I'm joking. Oh man, again, that's just, you have to know the person. You have to, I mean, women's intuition, I don't have that. The women do. So, I mean, you just got to follow I guess what your gut tells you, because, oh man, that's so hard. How do you know? I mean, couple tips. I mean, if every time he calls you it's only for money, that might be a sign. Maybe if you're sending money to other people's accounts,
Good one.
that might be a sign.
He's asking you to bring stuff in.
That's a give me. That's a give me. But I mean, no, that's not I hate to. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're just using them, because a lot of guys, it's about your mindset. Their mindset is that this is the only way they know. This is the only things they know how to do to survive, is to hustle, to sell drugs, or whatever the case may be, right? So when a girl is quote unquote your ride or die chick, she's gonna do the things that both of you need to be done in order to move forward. So that doesn't necessarily mean that he's using her, because he's using her in the moment, but this is what he believes to be the only way that he can survive or move forward while in prison. So it's a little more about the mindset, about his mindset.
Wow, that's such interesting insight.
That's not necessarily, yeah, he's using her in the moment, but to him it's not. He's not using her. He's doing what he needs to do to survive.
Interesting. So we forgot to answer, what did it feel like when you walked free? Like, describe those moments.
You know, that's a great question. All the preparation I did, all the self-help books, and all the growth I did on my own, and coming out, and it was like, oh my God, like I'm free. And it didn't even hit me till, like, you know, when you leave the federal prison, they give you time to make it. They give you you have to report to the halfway house at whatever time they give you. So since I was about 6 hours away, they give you about whatever amount of time on the bus, right? So there was a little grace period. By the time I got here, and since I lived close to where my halfway house was, I went home to eat. You know, they had cooked food and stuff like that. So I'm standing in front of the house where I grew up at, and like all my cousins are coming by, my family. So right there was like, oh my goodness, like I'm home. It's been 10 years and I'm home. And it was just like the ride back was like, it was a lot of quiet. I'm just, just looking at things. Because I thought I was prepared. I'm saying this because I'm going to highlight the fact that I thought I was prepared mentally and physically and everything. But when it hits you, the air's different. It's just, when you hug someone and you're not watched by a correction officer, it's a whole different kind of feeling. It was just surreal. There's nothing. Maybe a woman giving birth to her child might be the equivalent.
Michelle said your stomach was in knots and felt like you needed a bathroom run. I think she's talking about you. I don't know. Maybe somebody else could have made me laugh.
No, not necessarily at knots, but just more of like a breath of fresh air, both literally and figuratively.
Although I don't have any kids, but I think every mother here would probably slap you for comparing that to childbirth.
I'm just telling you from a man's perspective.
I'm just kidding. So when we got this question earlier, and it just reminded me, when did the freakout process start? Like when you started getting short, about how many months or years before did you get that anxiety?
No, I didn't. I didn't get anxiety. As you know, Ro, my coach was actually Ro's husband, Adam, my man, my brother, and he's constantly, and we're constantly every single day. We're preparing, mentally preparing, physically preparing. So the freak out was never there. Even the night before, I slept like a baby. Guys usually stay up all night. They're getting released. I slept. Well, I only slept a few hours, but I still slept good. It's really about preparation. I'm preparing 18 months before I'm going home. Like, just it's really about preparing. And if you can give your guys all your guys any advice, is to prepare way before you're being released. Don't wait 2 months. Don't wait 3 months. Like 1-2 years, start planning and writing stuff down and what you want to do, and do the things. You'd be surprised how much you can really get accomplished when you plan, even before leaving prison. Even if you have plans, you want to start a business, the things you want to do with your family. Just if you can give them that advice to just write stuff down and just kind of, it's almost like if you're helping like a woman with a man who's incarcerated, if you kind of help him create like his vision, what it is he wants to do and what it is, that would be a great things to talk about while you're on the phone, and be positive. And two, it kind of takes us out of our space and knows that we're actually building something with someone who's on the outside, and it helps. It just helps.
So I'm sorry, I wasn't laughing at you. You've just got a serious fan club here. People are very curious. I don't know if it's the same woman or not because the comments are going kind of fast, but um, they're very interested to know if you're single or not. But also, what was the question I was going to ask? Oh, if your loved one is an addict, what do you suggest to keep him clean and sober when he gets home?
Wow, that touches home. Uh, hmm, I don't know. We tried it all. We tried it all. If you don't mind me sharing this, in March 2016, like a year before I came out, my brother had just came home. Well, he came home in February, and 3.5 weeks later, he OD'd and he died. And that's a struggle. We had that struggle forever, for like in my family, and that's it's really when they want to get help. This is my just whenever they want to make the conscious decision, because all the rehabs in the world, all the positive talk, if they don't make that conscious decision for themselves that they want to change their life and completely remove this from their life, I don't think it'll happen ever. Be honest. That's just my point of view. From struggling with it my whole lifetime, since I was probably about 8 years old, it was happening in my family. So, and it ended horribly. So I don't know. It's really on them. Whenever they decide that they wanna, when they want to change.
Thank you for being so open and honest with that one because I know that hits home for majority of us, a lot of us. So somebody asked, when the end seemed so far away and you still had so much in front of you, how did you sustain yourself just to get through every single day?
I played poker every single day.
Is that good advice?
No, I'm joking. I'm joking. No, but it's just surrounding yourself. This is other good you can give to some of the guys. Surround yourself with the people who 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 want to do the things you want to do. Um, like being that I'm an ex gang member, so when I started changing my transition while still inside, my transition, I kind of had to move away from hanging around with the homies, because the homies didn't want to move in the direction that I wanted to move. So I surrounded myself around individuals who were going to push me forward to be the best pooch possible. Your husband, brother Chris, Cantu, Keith, so many of the guys that inspired me and pushed me forward, and no man left behind kind of thing. If when people see that you want to help yourself, they want to help you. So when you kind of let them know that this is what you're trying to do, they're not. Especially in prison, we build a camaraderie. We live with each other every single day. We see each other, so it's easy to be negatively influenced, but it's also easy to walk with the crowd that's walking in the direction you're trying to walk, to live positively.
So what changed? I imagine you were still a gang member when you went inside, right? You weren't an ex-gang member beforehand.
No.
So what and when did you flip and go to the positive side? What changed it? What caused it?
Just I was tired of I mean, I was gonna say common sense, because if you keep the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over and expect different results. And I mean, I was living insanely. Not my whole time. I wasn't positive in prison. I said poker because when I was joking, that was like joking with the truth. Because for the first half of my bid, that's all I did was play poker and gamble, and So, and this was not. I was just blowing money. I was spending the money that I'm getting sent from my loved ones or whatever. It's also getting spent. So it's like I wasn't living the right way. So I actually had an epiphany while in the hole over something that happened at the poker table.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's funny, right? So it was just that. It was just fed up, tired. The same theory of when the somebody who's an addict decides that they fed up. It's the same theory. We're all addicts one way or another, or we were, especially us in prison. We're either addicted to money or the fast life or the women who lead us to do the things that take us to prison. Different
So,
forms of addiction.
sorry.
That's all right.
Connie has a really good question. So she said that she thinks, and I think it's majority of our members are under the impression that once you're in, and there's no getting out of a prison gang. So how can you elaborate on that? Not necessarily your case, but is that the truth? How do you get out? Can you get out? That type of thing.
It's more about it's about a respect level. If you had respect while involved in whatever situation you're involved in, and guys, especially guys who care for you, care about you, who would be the other gang members, and they see the steps you're moving towards, they're not. No one's gonna stop positivity. You can't stop it, first of all, but a lot of time, most of the time, they're going to encourage it. Most of the time. I mean, it has to be a complete far gone person to just want to knock you off your horse when you're moving forward. And in the process, I'm trying to bring guys with me. Like, come on, everybody knows that lifestyle is, well, like Brother Chris would say, it's a death style. It's not a lifestyle. So they know that the lifestyle is detrimental to any type of growth, positive movement, evolution. So when they see you moving that way, it's either they might move away, leave you alone, but not all the time would you get. Most of the time, nobody's gonna oppose your growth. Anybody who says they will, it might be they're a little it might be BS.
So is there any way us on the outside can help influence that? Or that's basically like going back to that drug example, it's 100% up to him. We can't really do anything about it. It's got to exist with him. We can just try to stay positive.
You can contribute by I mean, what helped me was just reading books, reading positive books, like mindset books. The mindset is so big. It's like the way we think that influences every single decision that we make and everything that happens in our life. So it's more about if you want to help, send them books that are gonna help them kind of figure out who he really is and who he wants to be, or who she is and who she wants to be. Just reflection on themselves. Constantly, you have to reflect on who you are in order to change, to move forward. That's the only way I could see, because or you can kind of ask them questions that lead them to get their own answers. Like, do you think that we can have a future if you continue to live your life this way? Like things like questions like that kind of make them second guess maybe a stupid decision they're gonna make, or a choice that's gonna lead to some type of negative reaction. Just certain questions, or I know they can get a list of powerful questions from you, bro.
Absolutely. Got,
So
I think, a list of 500 somewhere in a folder.
yeah, so just the questions that are gonna make them look within themselves.
You have so many fans just saying, thank you for coming home. Thank you for this interview. Thank you for being so open and honest. God bless you always. So many things. And you had somebody from your past, I can't remember where they said they were from, but told me to say hello. And you'll read the comments after this, right? On your page?
Yeah. I
Okay.
just shared it. I couldn't find it for a
Oh,
minute.
okay. Okay.
Wait,
So somebody asked, how do you know if the money you're sending is being spent on what they're telling you they're spending it for?
you don't. You don't. You have to know your the person you're sending it to. You can't know.
So I'm obsessed with this question from Regina because I know the answer. What are you doing now? How are you, I'm paraphrasing because the question just went away, but how are you influencing lives of inmates positively now while you're home? And if Regina, if I forgot something, just post it again.
Um, well, like I said, mentioned earlier, I'm a life coach, so we're in the process. Well, while inside, along with Rose's husband and a few other guys, we developed a curriculum where it kind of helps us. It's set goals. One first is setting goals, attack the mindset, and then moving positively forward. So kind of we're in the process of trying to implement this in different districts. So that's what I'm trying to do at the moment. The 24th, I start a job with B Men Mentors, which is out of here in Port Danville, New Jersey. So I'm trying to mentor some high school kids. So, I mean, I'm actually still in the halfway house. I get off in 2 weeks, so I'll be done with that aspect of it. So it's been like I said, it's a lot of work. It's not as easy as I thought it was gonna be, but we're diligent in our pursuit of success.
So we just got another really good question. Her husband came home after doing 14 years and she was afraid that he was going to be institutionalized, but they're doing okay. But can you talk about that a little bit about institutionalization and um, what he even means to you? Because I've spoken to Adam and it means something different to him than it does to some of the other women that I speak to. What it means to, how to get over it, what to do if you're struggling with it when you get home.
Institutionalization is just, for some guys it's a good thing. Like me, for instance, I was so everywhere. When I say everywhere, like I never had a schedule. I just did everything on the fly. So going to prison, and I mean, obviously, this is me adjusting the way I think a little bit, and using the schedule that they force us to use to do all the things I need to do within a specific time slot or at a specific time, kind of helped me become a little more structured in my what's the word here, in my everywhere life, where I was just wild. So that helped me. Institutionalization, you with that, using that same example, would be like, it's they count at 5 o'clock, so I'm up at 4:30 ironing my pants so I can stand at the door and be ready for count. And that's kind of funny. Institutionalized, I mean, damn, it's just, where in federal prison you sit, like, there's spots where we sit down to watch TV, right? So institutionalized would be like guys who have fought over their chairs moved 2 or 3 inches to the right. And this happens to a lot of guys because you're in prison for a long time and then you really don't. And this is all we have. Everything, and it's such, so a lot of the things is about respect. So that is one way. A lot of guys get Stockholm syndrome, where they kind of identify so much with the people who have captured that they become almost like them inside. Like they try to police everything you do, they watch everything you do. That's another form of being institutionalized, where they're real nosy. There's nothing to do. We all become anthropologists in prison because you study people and you learn their behaviors and their mannerisms. So, and all different cultures. We have Mexicans, Spanish, Black, white, all different kind of races. So living together, all these men in one unit, you study people. So, and a lot of times, guys take that like super far left, where they're just super nosy and they want to make sure that they know everything that's going on, and they just don't mind their business. So there's so many different forms of institutionalization. Okay, most of the time you wear slippers to go to the shower, right? So, hello, am I here?
You're back. Yep, you froze for 1 second.
Okay,
Slippers going to the shower.
okay, I'm sorry. If you if you wear your slippers go into the shower in prison and you come home and wear your slippers and go into the shower, it's because you might be a little institutionalized. It goes away with time. I have a funny story about that. About about somebody being institutionalized. I'm so sorry. Somebody keeps trying to call me. About being institutionalized. And a friend of mine, I was in Fort Dix in the beginning stages of my time. And there's a lot of cell phones at Fort Dix. So all the guys, they hide their phones. You hide their phones in different places. So a friend of mine, he he goes home and he has a cell phone. He just has a cell phone. So I would call him on his cell phone once he's home. And he didn't answer for like 3 days. And I'm like, what happened? When he called me back, well, I called him and one day he answered. He's like, he hid the same way he used to hide his phone in prison. He hid his phone in the mattress in his house and he couldn't find it. He didn't know where it was at. So it's just a lot of things. That's a little bit of being institutionalized.
Wow.
Hello?
Wow, that's
So,
great.
you know,
So can you still hear me?
yeah, I hear you.
Somebody asked, Kevin, I think it was, asked the top 3 things you think are necessary to avoid recidivizing.
Oh, say it again. The
The
top three
top
things.
3 things you think are necessary to avoid recidivizing.
Support system. Uh, changing the way, having a great support system, or at least somewhat of a support system. Changing the way we think, and having an old relationship and relationships that are not productive, and relationships that are not productive.
Okay. Michelle said something really cute. She said they both have slippers for the shower. He shared some of his habits and some are great. And I think that's such a good point because not every habit that's developed there has to be a bad habit. I think that I could learn a lot from Adam's little quirks one day. So Leslie wants to know, what are the chances of someone coming out better than the way they were before?
I'm sorry, what?
What are the chances of someone coming out better than the way they were before?
The chances are very high. It's really it's on them.
Yeah.
It's really on them to do the things that are necessary for them to change. Malcolm X said that next to a formal university, prison is the best place that a man can educate himself. And I'm paraphrasing. That wasn't an exact quote, but it's something like that. So it's really about us investing our time instead of spending our time in prison, and investing our time in ourselves.
Okay, so is having a plan a necessity?
Yep, of course. It's definitely a
Yeah.
plan. If you plan to
Yeah.
fail, or if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? That's the old adage.
I love it. Yep. So somebody was saying that her friend did 28 years and the institutionalization didn't go away, and he's very desensitized and he's void of all kinds of emotion. So do you want to respond to that?
I mean, that's actuality. That's real. That happens. I mean, 28 years. That's a lifetime. So, I mean, that's so hard. I mean, and now I'm assuming they're a little older now. If they did 28 years, there should be 50 around there, 50 plus, regardless, right? Am I right?
Yeah, because he has to at least be 18 when he goes in, right?
Yeah, so they're either close to 50 or they're or they're like 50 or 60. Even without going to prison, we know how older people are with changing their ways, and sometimes they're real stuck in their ways. So that's tough. That's hard. That's just at that point, it's like just support them the best you can, and just give them little bits of positivity, because a lot of times it's just, you're right, they're desensitized. It just depends how he looks at life.
Kevin says free Adam.
Free Adam. Yes, I echo that.
Ooh, this is a good question. What would you say to a prison wife who's over the situation? I feel like there's no end to it. Currently 5 months pregnant with twins and trying to get him out. And sometimes I feel overwhelmed. I can't read the rest of the comment, but I think you got the general gist.
Are they his?
Patricia, are they his? Let's see if I can scroll down. Let's assume they're his until she tells us further.
Because that's...
She said she just reposted part of it. She understands how hard it is for him. Oh, nope, it just went away. Can you offer some insight?
That kind of the same thing from earlier. It's really, is it worth it? Is it worth it to her? Is the relationship worth it to her? Is she just doing this out of anger? Because a lot of times that happens. Women or anybody, they will be resentful towards us for going to prison. Because I used to get this a lot. Oh, you left me out here. That was what I would get. You left me out here to fend for myself. So she might be echoing that sentiment a bit. So it's really about, does she feel the relationship is worth it? Is she going to later on, when he comes home, want to rekindle the relationship, and then he can hold this against her? Because that's, a lot of us do that. Oh, yeah, well, you weren't there. Oh, but, whatever the case may be. I'm just an example. It's really about, is the relationship worth it to her?
And I could just add, as somebody who's in her shoes, although I don't have children, for me, sometimes the emotions just come in waves, and the overwhelm will just take over at any given time. Your hormones are going nuts. You're pregnant right now. So I just think, give yourself time, and just truly soul search and ask yourself what Poochie just said. Is this worth it to me? Am I over it? Or is it just a phase right now and a wave of emotions that'll pass? And you'll get the answer. You might not get it today or tomorrow, but that doesn't matter. You both have a while, of course, and you always have the option of, although a lot of our women are very against this, and I don't do it, but it's up to you and him as a couple. Do you want to open up your relationship while he's gone? That's something that you guys can consider and talk about. I mean, I don't know if you want to do it right now while you're pregnant, but it doesn't have to be firm, hard set rules. What works for you might not work for another couple, but just figure out what works for you, and figure out if it's what you truly want, or if it's over, or if you just need a little break, or if it's just the hormones that are speaking. So I was too busy talking that I wasn't reading questions. If cheating was involved in a relationship, what do you think could make things better to rebuild trust?
Cheating on depends. It doesn't
Cheating
really.
while he was inside.
I would guess. To me, it's about perspective. That's really not cheating, because it depends how much time. It's just my opinion. It's my own opinion, my own personal opinion. Please, no one hold this against me. But I believe that when we're gone for that much of a long time, let's be. Realistically, people have needs, and it's just about how strong are you. If you're a strong individual to be able to withstand all the desires or whatever the case may be, then obviously you feel like you cheated. So how do you mend that? It's about trust. Trust is trust. It takes a lifetime to build trust, but only 5 minutes to destroy it. So it's really about the person. It's about, is he willing to accept the fact that this happened? And when he comes home, is he gonna hold this over your head? Like, okay, you might do all this work right now. And from personal experience, from personal experience, I'm gonna say that right now, while going through that situation, he might seem more forgiving than he actually is, just because of what I talked about earlier about the lack of affection and companionship while we're away. So the fact that it's possible that he won't let it go. that he just might hold that against you for a long time. Just possible. I'm speaking I'm just playing, I guess, devil's advocate here. So it's really about you gaining the trust back. And does he forgive you? If you believe that he genuinely forgives you, then keep pushing forward.
Good advice. Okay, so Maddie has such a good question. She says that some people say that the age you go in is the age that you come out. And even though you see a lot and a lot goes on while you're in there, you're not free, you're not on the street. So would you agree or disagree with that? What's your opinion and why?
I wish I was still 26. It's not the case. The age you go in mentally, I mean, physically it might be. Physically, you might. A lot of guys, we go into prison and we come out in good shape, in the best shape of our lives. Mentally, again, it's really the work that they put in on themselves. It's really about the work you put in to make yourself a stronger individual mentally. You might be. I mean, I'm only speaking from personal experience. I'm night and day from the person I went in to the person I am now. Rose's husband, night and day, a completely different individual. The person he went in to the person he went out. And I thank him for a lot of the growth that I've done in my life because he was constantly there for me. I say that to say that we both invested time in working on ourselves. We both invested time reading and talking and having the conversations that are hard to have with our loved ones, with even with other men in prison. Like a lot of guys, a lot of times showing your emotions is like a weakness in prison because, oh, this guy's showing his emotions, but it 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 kind of it's also a strength, I believe, because for you to be able to show who you are as a man but still be respected, it's kind of a big deal. So again, it's just about how much work they put into themselves. And because I don't believe anyone is the same age, you're gonna learn stuff regardless of uh what age you go in. Now it's really which way you let all this experience and this information, which way you let it lead you.
Susie wanted to know, did you go through a halfway house?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I know what she meant because I was talking to her about this the other day. Can you just give like a little blurb about the halfway house, how you get it, what it is, do you have to take it, how it is there? Should her husband wants to take it, but she's like, should I not? What should we do?
My advice: take the halfway house because you're home, you're free, you get to see your family, you get to, regardless if there's some restrictions, but you still get to. After it took me a month before I got home confinement in a month. So 30 days after being in the halfway house, I was already on home confinement. A week after being in the halfway house, I got a 12-hour passes on Saturdays and Sundays where they let me home for 12 hours at a time. And then the next week after that, I had the whole weekend from Friday to Sunday night. So it's really about, I would take it, yes, because you're home. Anything can happen in prison. Like, you never know. You can't control how someone else is gonna act or what they're gonna do, and you might be caught in a situation. When you're in the halfway house, you're not in that element anymore. You're with a lot of guys who are all in the halfway house, who everybody's a step closer to home. So the whole mindset is different in the halfway house and compared to when you're in prison. You might be in prison with a guy doing 25 years and you're leaving in 2 days. And, sometimes there's resentment. Guys, the guys who don't grow mentally, they're I don't know, guys are petty. People are petty and envious and all types of things. So my advice is take the halfway house.
Thank you. What was your sentence and what time of your sentence were you eligible for parole?
No, it works a little different in the federal system. There's no parole unless you're from Washington, D.C.
Or military, right?
Or military, yeah. So I was never eligible for parole. I was eligible for halfway house 6 months prior to the completion of my sentence. And you do 85% of your time. So if you get 10 years, you do 8.5, and then you do 8.5 and 6 months halfway. 6 months halfway house, unless you lose good time, which would be good conduct time.
All right, guys, rapid fire, a couple more questions because we're approaching an hour and I want to respect Poochie's time because he was so kind to donate it to us while he's so busy. Oh, this is sweet. She said he's been down for 8 years. Release date is May 2019. It's a struggle, but communication and honesty, as it is in any solid relationship, is vital. And we couldn't have done it without God also being involved with the other women, families in similar situations. Helped so much. I also got involved with making changes for rehabilitation, not mass incarceration through NIA. That's such a sweet comment. So I think that's just proof that having the support for us out here, having support of other people that are going through it is immensely helpful and basically necessary. Does anybody else have any more questions before we say thank you and goodbye to Poochie? Did you do federal or state time?
Federal time.
Okay. Thank you so much. This was so fun. I'm glad we finally got a chance to do this.
Thank you.
Can we ask you back? Because I have to tell you, this is probably my most commented on video of all time.
Okay, perfect. Whenever, anytime. I'm here.
Maybe we can make this regular feature if your schedule permits. Awesome.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So, all right. So you guys, Poochie and I will come up with some sort of a schedule and figure it out. I want to make sure that we're respecting the boundaries of his schedule and his time. And then we will be back. And somebody said answer mine, but I didn't see your question, Adrian. So if you ask it really quickly, then we will answer it. But you got to ask it within the next minute because I have to go to another meeting as well. So I don't think that's her question. Nope. Okay, so you could be the first one to ask on the next one. You guys keep staying strong, keep loving strong, keep supporting one another through this journey because you're one day closer to it all being over. Lots of love from both of our hearts to yours. Poochie, do you want to say any closing thoughts?
Yes, I want to thank everybody for the great questions and having me reflect a little bit on myself. Bro, thank you so much for the wonderful work you do. Please keep it up, and I'm here anytime you need me, anytime.
Thank you so much. We all, on behalf of all of us and SPWF, appreciate that more than you'll ever know. Good night, guys. Lots of love.
Good night. Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you, Poochie.
Bye, no doubt.